You're tuned in to Pyrocryptic X News, daily crypto coverage on the networks that matter. XRP, XLM, XDC, and many others. Let's get into it.
Pyrocryptic News here, bringing you a concise update for XRP and XLM investors.
That's right. We're seeing some pretty significant developments.
Absolutely. For XRP, momentum seems to be building around a potential settlement, and there's a lot of talk about ETFs.
And for XLM, keep an eye on whale movements and some really interesting payment expansion in Southeast Asia.
Okay, let's jump into XRP first. The SEC lawsuit, always a key topic. What's the latest?
Well, the big news is that the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit approved a joint motion. Both Ripple and the SEC asked to pause the appeal process.
A pause. Interesting. Why would they both agree to that? What does it signify?
It definitely delays Ripple's need to formally respond to the SEC's challenge about those programmatic XRP sales, the automated exchange sales.
Ah, right. The ones the court partially ruled on before. So delaying the response, does that mean settlement talks are getting serious?
That's certainly the speculation. It creates more breathing room for negotiation away from the immediate pressure of court deadlines. Pro-crypto lawyer Fred Rispoli even noted the timing was quite narrow, suggesting it was a calculated move.
So the focus shifts back to Judge Annalisa Torres for the final judgment in the original case.
Exactly. And we've heard hints from Ripple's side. Stuart Alderady, their chief legal officer, suggested a possible deal. Maybe Ripple pays around $50 million of that big fine, gets $75 million back.
That would be a significant reduction from the initial figures discussed.
It would. And crucially, negotiations likely also cover lifting that injunction, the one limiting Ripple's institutional XRP sales in the U.S.
So Ripple might even be pushing for more, like requesting a modification to cut the fine further and get rid of those sales restrictions altogether.
That's a distinct possibility. They'd want the least restrictive outcome possible, naturally.
And if this legal uncertainty starts to clear up, how directly does that feed into all the excitement we're hearing about a potential XRP ETF?
It's a huge catalyst, potentially. You see the optimism really growing around a spot XRP ETF getting approved.
Yeah. Who's feeling optimistic?
Well, Nate Gerasi, who's the president of the ETF store, expressed strong confidence. He thinks the SEC, especially under someone like Paul Atkins, would likely approve it.
Now, we've seen actual filings, haven't we?
We have. ProShares put in an application for an XRP ETF. And look at Polymarket, the prediction market. They're giving it, a 77% chance of approval by the end of the year?
77%. That's quite high.
It is. Plus, we've already seen Teucrium launch a leveraged XRP ETF, XLXRP, and the SEC itself has acknowledged getting multiple spot ETF applications.
Who else is in the running?
We know about Grayscale, Bitwise, WisdomTree, established names, and the expectation is the big players, BlackRock, Fidelity, they might jump in eventually too.
Okay, so if these ETFs get the green light, what's the potential impact? We're talking big money.
Potentially, yes. Think institutional capital. JPMorgan analysts, for instance, they estimated inflows could reach up to $8 billion in the first year alone.
$8 billion. Wow. That could certainly move the needle.
It could create significant demand, similar to what we saw with the Bitcoin ETFs, though, every asset's different.
Right. Okay. Beyond ETFs and lawsuits, what about the XRP ledger itself? I saw something about the burn rate spiking.
Yeah, that was interesting. A 100% jump in burned XRP in one day. Over 4,600 XRP destroyed through transaction fees.
So more activity on the network.
Exactly. It reflects heightened activity, though the actual amount burned has a pretty modest impact on the total supply and the immediate price. It's a gradual reduction mechanism.
But some investors see that increased activity and burn as positive signs for utility.
They do. It suggests the network is being used, which points towards underlying demand.
Got it. And quickly, on the price itself, technically speaking, where does XRP stand?
It's been in a tight consolidation phase, sort of stuck after falling from around $2.25.
Okay.
Right now, it's hovering near $2.08, which is actually below the 100-hour simple moving average. That's a bit of a short-term bearish flag for some traders.
Any key levels to watch?
Yeah, there's a bearish trend line forming near $2.13. Analysts are warning about a potential drop below the $2 support level.
And if it breaks below $2?
Then you might be looking at targets around $1.92 or maybe even down to $1.84. On the flip side, if it breaks out above $2.20, the path could open up towards that $2.35 to $2.15 at such again.
Okay, clear technical picture there. Let's switch gears now to Stellar Lumens, XLM. Big news about whale activity.
Huge news, yeah. Whale Alert flagged a massive on-chain movement. Almost 50 million XLM moved in just 24 hours. 49,555,947 XLM to be exact.
Wow, nearly 50 million. That's not pocket change. What does that usually signal?
It often suggests renewed interest from, well, Whale's large investors. Maybe they see the recent price stability. XLM was up about 1.43% over the week, or maybe they're anticipating something bigger.
What's the price doing now?
It's around 0.2387, just off a recent high, near 0.2397. The key thing is these whales seem to be actively funding purchases, which hints they might be expecting a bullish move.
And you mentioned open interest.
Right. XLM's open interest saw a little jump too, about 1.49% in 24 hours. That means more traders are opening derivative positions, like futures, getting on price movement.
So increased speculation alongside the whale moves. Wasn't there another big whale move previously too?
There was, yeah. An even larger one, actually 245 million XLM. So this isn't a one-off. There's definite activity among large holders.
Interesting. Okay, beyond the trading and whale watching, XLM seems to be making strides in real-world use, specifically payments in Southeast Asia.
This is really significant, I think. There's a partnership between a crypto payments protocol called Aeon and Stellar.
Aeon and Stellar, what's the goal?
To speed up crypto adoption for everyday payments across Southeast Asia, and the scale is potentially massive.
How so?
Aeon's partnership means they can now support XLM and also Stellar native USDC as payment methods in retail stores. We're talking major cities across the region.
So you could actually use XLM or USDC on Stellar to buy things.
That's the plan. It uses Aeon Pay, which is a mobile solution they call Web3 powered, and it connects to Aeon's existing network over 10,000 brands, 20 million QR-enabled stores.
20 million stores. That's huge potential reach.
It really is. And they're not stopping there. They plan to expand this solution to Africa and Latin America later on. It offers potentially faster, cheaper, more inclusive payments compared to traditional methods.
It taps into that whole trend of crypto and stablecoins moving into actual payments, right? Especially where regulations are becoming clear.
Precisely. Cross-border crypto payments can be almost instant and nearly free, which is a big advantage over old-school banking, particularly for smaller amounts or lots of transactions. And Stellar's network was kind of built for that efficiency.
Stellar has other payment partnerships too, doesn't it?
It does. They've worked with MasterCard, and Stripe uses them for XLM payouts. Paxos also uses Stellar to expand access to its stablecoin, and Aeon itself just integrated the Open Network, bringing TON and USDT to Telegram users, showing this broader trend.
Okay, quite a bit happening on the adoption front for XLM then. So just to summarize quickly, for XRP, keep watching the SEC case, pause for settlement clues. The growing ETF buzz is real, but the price is consolidating for now.
Right. And for XLM, significant whale interest shown by large on-chain moves, plus very tangible progress in real-world payments in Southeast Asia via the Aeon partnership. Lots to track.
Definitely. Which brings us to a final thought for our listeners today. As we see these regulatory landscapes shift and real-world adoption potentially accelerate, how might these developments shape your own long-term thinking about XRP and XLM? Something to consider as this space keeps evolving.
That's it for today on Pyrocryptic X News. Stay sharp, stay informed, and catch the next drop right here.